So, tangents upon tangents. We're talking about my buddy Jerry. We're talking about my finding Lego on the beach. I just seem to sporadic events throughout my entire life, and I don't know if it's because it's on my subconscious radar that I seem to. Overall, there's times I missed. My radar is like negligent in this. I remember I worked for a moving company, my friend's moving company, his dad, and they regaled me with these stories, like hearing moving companies. I like hearing a lot of stories. And just before they hired me, because just before I needed a job working for them, they did a move of a family out of a house to another house, obviously, and they had basically a 45-gallon drum of Lego. Now, this is back in the day when there was only Lego. There's no Mega Block or whatever. And the family wasn't interested in moving it. They said, hey, moving company, you guys keep it. So it's like, no, again, I have nothing to complain about because I've mentioned of the numerous times where Lego just kind of flowed into my life. I still have my cousin's bin, which I haven't even really had a chance to look at yet because whatever. So I have this is not complaining. This is just making a story of whatever. I have no problem with the amount of Lego I have. Actually, it's too much. And I have no problem with the Lego that has come to me nicely and cheaply and freely. But that was one I just missed out on. So, but again, oh well, yes, I have what I want. But so in my life, Lego has played a part of it through my 58 years here. And as I say, I walked on the beach, found Lego. My buddy's driveway, found Lego. Blah blah. So the whole tangent was to get to today. Yesterday. What's today? Yesterday. What's music? I hear music. So anyway, I don't know what the music is from. I think it's Google playing over there. Anyway, so here's check this further. This is supposed to be a nice quiet day. This is supposed to be a nice quiet day. Sorry about this. This is actually board business. I'm amazed on a quiet Sunday as I'm getting this kind of stuff. So yesterday, we had fixed up the back deck on Father's Day. We had a lot of old rotting pressure treated wood back there, and of course we didn't do an extensive fix because we can't get into our backyard due to them building a new retaining wall behind our house. But we did what we could. We bought some new slats, and we were doing the fixing the back deck. And you might not know why this is immediately important to Lego and stuff, but it'll get there. So I've ripped up a whole bunch of old boards and replaced them with new boards. Josh and I keep on. I've showed him how to use a skill saw before, and yet, sporadically, I think for me, it's one of the most handiest things that you could ever have is a skill saw. If you have anything for home renos, a lot of people swear by a Sawzall, and I'm not faulting them for that because the Sawzall is very easy to use for literally everything, and you can hack out and do it. But for semi-finished work, like when you're trying to make a nice smooth edge for a deck, skill saw is fine to have. I couldn't use my radial arm saw or my table saw because I'm working the back deck. People, hey, buy a compound sliding miter saw. I have a radial arm saw in my garage from 1975 Craftsman, probably older than that, which does literally everything I need to do. And I find every single sliding compound miter saw that I've ever used is great for rough chopping wood to various lengths and various angles. It's perfect for that, for rough stuff. You can't believe how many dados I make. I'm shocked at how many dados I make, or how many cutting like a depth of. And use your router for making those depths. And I'm going, I could use my rudder for those depths, but then I'm setting up a rudder jig on the table to cut a dado or an inset for a shelf or whatever. Whereas a radial arm saw, zing, 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 there it is. So, there it is. It's like the quickest thing in the entire universe for a radial arm saw to cut a groove in a piece of wood for a shelf or for whatever else you might need it for a fancy looking corner piece. The radial arm saw, in my entire usage of the one, and it's amazing how for me that radial arm saw gets used more than the table saw ever did. And I got my uncle's table saw from Sears Craftsman from like 1904 in the garage. And so I swear by my usage of the radial arm saw. And I've heard from other people that a lot of woodworkers swear that they will never use a radial arm saw because it's unsafe. And I'm going, it's like a skill saw, except it's stationary, and your hand is on the unit that has the blade on it. So it's literally 100% impossible to at least cut this hand because the blade's there, and it goes with the. Now you can put this hand here and run over it. Absolutely, you can do that. You can do that. That you have you can, if you're stupid, injure both hands using a table saw. A skill saw, you can cut through your foot. I've seen that where people aren't paying attention. They're cutting a piece of 2x4 or 2x8 or whatever, plywood, and they cut through their foot because their foot's underneath and they don't have a spatial distance to see how deep the blade is. A skill saw, lovely machine. Again, I love Sandy Bobby, the skill saw that I have in the garage, and I use it a lot. But nothing gets used. No power beside the drill. No power tool in my entire garage gets used more than that radial arm saw. So, because it's just the easiest. Zing, 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 done. Cut as much wood as you want, as quick as you want. You can put the stops on it. And mine's across a 14-foot bench, so I can make this exact same cuts on 10-foot pieces. Just put a stop there. And yes, sliding compound miter saws have extended benches and blah, blah, blah. Don't care. I already have it. But anyway, so we are fixing the deck. We're replacing pieces, Josh and me. Father's Day present to each of us. He's helping Dad, your old dad, and I'm teaching him and showing him how to use a skill saw nicely and how to cut a 45-degree angle on the wood easily on a skill saw, because it's not finesse. It's not like rocket science. You know, you put a skill saw on a piece of wood and cut a 45-degree angle if you got it drawn nicely. But if you've never done it before, and then you try, and this is. And I told Josh, even before he picked it up, I said, this is what many, many people try to do. They try to fix the cut when the blade's in the wood. Like if you see it going off the line, it goes, and that does not work. On a skill saw, you will break something, especially a skill saw. So you pull back and then you correct it and you go again. That's it. And then I said, don't worry about it. We got plenty of wood here. If you go off, and so it's like if it's an eighth inch off over and across the cut, I don't care. If it's a 1/4 inch off, then people are going to notice that. But they said just bring it back, zing, 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 and then go across. So I'm teaching them how to do that. So that was great. So anyway, but I have all these old rotted, this is where Lego comes back in. I have all this old rotted lumber decking and 2x8 joists that were rotted underneath that we fixed the entire corner, sitting in the garage for a couple weeks since Father's Day. And we have 2 old rotted deck chairs that just over the 10 seasons that we had them deteriorated to the point where you sit them and the stuff rips. So we'll take those to the dump, and whatever else I need to take to the dump. There's some other parts and pieces in the garage. So yesterday morning, first thing, well, it's not hot yet because it's stupid hot right now, by the way. I threw everything in the back of the van. All that crap in the back of the van. And Sandy wants to come with me. Hey, I can go to the dump. Sure, she hops in. She likes keeping me company. Again, my wife's absolutely adorable. I am the most blessed person in the world. She wants to, if I'm doing something, she wants to be right there with me, and it's just my best friend and all that stuff. So anyway, so we go to the dump together, and the dump's a couple blocks from here. We go there, and we go over the weigh scale, which I always appreciate. 30 kilograms. Get off the weigh scale, and I'm starting to back into the spot, and you got the containers, garbage back there. And I'm backing, and all of a sudden we hear a big, huge crunch underneath the tire. And our immediate response, both of us, oh, we're gonna bust a tire, because Sandy and I, for whatever reason, I don't think before I met Sandy I ever had a flat tire, ever. I don't remember ever having a flat tire. I probably did, but I don't remember stopping on the side of the road replacing a tire. Since Sandy and I have been together and we went to the dump a lot during all our renos, we have had not an inordinate amount of flat tires, but more than one, again. And it's usually around reno time, which is coincidental. So around the time of renos, we get a flat tire either in her car or my van. And we have surmised that possibly, not 100%, but possibly, one of the contributors to flat tires in the Cooties mobiles is the fact that we go to the dump all the time. During a reno, we have to take stuff to the dump. And at the dump, at the transfer station, I like to call it the dump, the transfer station, there could be miscellaneous stuff laying around on the asphalt from people throwing stuff into the bin, that a nail drops in the ground, and all of a sudden there's a nail in your tire. So that was already both, we heard the crunch, we stop immediately, and I'm looking around and I get out of the car and I'm almost at the bin anyway, and I don't see any flat tires, which is a blessing. But I also don't see any glass. I don't see anything that would have warranted that huge crunching sound that we heard when I was backing up. I unload the van and I give the van another circle check. And right below Sandy's door, the passenger door, I'm looking down and I see a bit of yellow. And I'm going, what? That looks very familiar. and this was below her door. Yes, it's authentic, genuine Lego. And you can see my van did drive over it. And I say, hey, Sandy, open the door. And she looks down the door and she just shakes her head. But it wasn't just this piece. It was this 2x2 slope piece that is completely crunched. And this one was not nearly as crunched. And this 1x4 plate, which was crunched. So, not mine, because there's no Lego in the van. And it would have fallen out before. So I was backing up to unload my van and I ran over. They were probably together. I don't know what set that would have been or what build that would have been for these 4 pieces, but I ran over it with the van. And it's like, huh. And then of course, oh, they're probably Lego in the bin, because, you know, everybody's yelling at the screen, hey, did you go look in the bin? Yes, I looked in the bin. The bin was mostly empty, so I was probably, I don't know, you could see the bottom in a lot of areas. There was like maybe a layer of garbage in there, and I'm looking in there and I didn't see any bags, I didn't see any duffels, I didn't see anything that would warrant that it contained Lego. It was just like a couple of pieces of wood here and a sheet of glass over there, and I could see most of the entire the bottom of the bin. So it could have been the bin before, and they just replaced it. Which again, ooh, but again, was I going to go do some dumpster diving because I found Lego in the parking lot? No. It is what it is. It is. I just find it humorous. Now, am I going to keep these pieces? I think all these pieces are going to end up in the bin of doom. I was just, the second I saw it, I just shook my head that, again, I had run over Lego. And before the running over, because these Lego pieces, they look remarkably glossy and shiny. It doesn't look like they were used much. And the fact that they were at the dump, whoever threw the collection of Lego, because I don't think it was just these 4 pieces. The other concept that I had was Dad, in contact, the vehicle that had this Lego that fell out of the vehicle. It could have been a family, and Dad was unloading the van to truck or whatever, and the little kid's in the passenger seat and trying to help Daddy and open the door, and Lego fell into the car and nobody noticed. It could be a bunch of stuff, but I'd rather not think that the absolute possibility is that somebody threw out a whole bunch of Lego without letting me know. But I think this was maybe it was an innocent loss of Lego, where the kid just opened the door and it fell out, and they didn't stop to notice. And now whatever build he had is missing 4 pieces. Because again, I looked underneath the van completely to see if there was any other pieces. These are only 4 pieces that were there. So that story is done with all the tangents and all the interruptions. And we were almost ready to go to Value Village. to drop off the sorted out, mostly Mega Block or other pieces. And I mentioned that these 2 bags I was going to take to Valley Village because I wasn't going to open them because of that thing right there, this dental floss thing. Again, I'm not a germaphobe by any stretch. I am not a germaphobe by any stretch. But I didn't notice that when I grabbed the bag, and that just kind of icks me out. Not a lot of things ick me out. I mean, the older I get, it's not that I find things more icky. I just tend to avoid more things because I just don't have the time or wherewithal to put any energy into it. So it's there's an expression, but it's got some vulgarity in it, profanity in it, so I'm not going to say it. But I just don't give a lot of patooties. That stuff I don't want to give any effort into. And so I said to myself, and I mentioned in the video when I had this bag, I couldn't figure out why I grabbed this bag in the first place and bought it. And I can't believe I didn't notice that in the first place when I bought it. But I put it in the bag, and it was in the van. It was in the van with the garbage, because we're going to go to the dump, and then we're going to go to Valley Village and drop the bag off with other parts and pieces from our house that we don't need anymore for Valley Village. And we didn't have time for that. But then I'm actually looking at the bag again, and then I remembered specifically why I grabbed this bag. And it is because of all these 2x4 half rounds and these pieces here. Those pieces are cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to dump this bag out. I'm going to judiciously and carefully, and that's why I brought the thing on here. I'm going to, here's me trying to get all this stuff organized. I'm going to try to get those pieces out without grabbing other icky pieces. So, and again, this is, I mean, should I be icked out? I don't know. So there's that one there. Look at that. Look at that. I don't know what set that's from, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to grab this guy because he looks cool. Oh, there's even, I like all white Technic bricks. So, there's another one over here. I don't have to grab these things because I don't know. I think it was in the Pick a Brick Wall one time. I have like hundreds of these things. I don't know why I grabbed those. I think this might have been, maybe that's why I got it. This might have been the small space shuttle set. That's probably maybe why I thought about it at the time, because it seems to have a whole bunch of these and look like the solid rocket boosters. I grab that. So that's possibly what this was at one point. It was the one of those space shuttle sets that had the solid rocket boosters, and but I don't know. I just find it very odd that I'm just going to keep on removing pieces and parts and not dump anything out. I think there's one more. I'm going to try to dig him out. Because I probably I didn't even bother checking my collection. I probably do have lots of these already, but not enough. I keep on meaning, and because not necessarily a friend of mine, but one of our Lego acquaintances that we all know on TikTok, Sid, he's building a big enterprise, and I'm loving it. But you know, we've chatted on the Friday night show, I keep on meaning to build a smaller version of the Enterprise that would use these things as nacelles. The old school version. I think that's it that I wanted without touching anything icky. I'm gonna put there is. I don't know what that is. It is American dime. I just made money. One American dime. A paradigm. So I think I'm going to put the rest of that back into the thing outside, and then a pair of nail clippers that I'm not going to take out of. See, this is the icky part. A pair of nail clippers. Yeah, not that I use nail clippers a lot. I was going to try to get this thing out, but I have that, and I mean, there's a Minecraft sword. I don't want to take this part. I just see a lot of dirt and leaves and stuff in there that I don't want to get on my desk, and nail clippers. So I brought him in thinking I was going to take him apart, but I think this is going to be a no. Although I wouldn't mind having that gear. it is such a tough thing, right? When I look at this stuff and the dick and whatever. So anyway, I'm gonna say no. That's gonna go back, and that's gonna go back into the car, and we'll take a trip to Valley Village. And this is what I'm gonna keep. And I'm gonna definitely wash these pieces. These pieces are definitely gonna be washed, and the dime's probably gonna be washed too. So that is, I don't know. I don't. Maybe it wasn't the space shuttle. I don't know what that's from. Or if it was from anything. Maybe the kids are just building stuff. So that's it for 2 videos. I think, sorry for the interruptions, but life happened. And yeah, this is what's going on. So everybody out there, stay safe. I ain't got nothing else. It's just I'm gonna have a very busy July and August, which we don't have to talk about now. We'll get to it. So just so quickly, our schedule, I'll be in Montreal with my wife and kid at the August 15th for Brickomania, and November I will be in Toronto or Mississauga for Bricks in the Six, so for Lego shows. And the layout is, as I mentioned earlier, the layout is at Brick Shack until July 20th. And that's about it for the Lego, except I'm going to be down here lots. I'll probably make lots of videos trying to fix the layout. I don't know if I'm going to get hardly anything done before the show. The Brickomania, they're making a special presentation of lit up stuff. They don't call it lights out, but the City of Lights or World of Lights or something of lights. And the layout at one point was really, really good for that, but it's been sadly neglected for a long time. And I think I even have to order life lights right now because some of those wires or whatever are not working anymore. And that's just because of all the shows they've been in. Nothing to do with the actual quality of the stuff, because it is fantastic quality. It's just that all the setups and takedowns takes its toll on the wiring for everything. Just as the building, the physical building needs to be, a lot of those buildings have to be fixed and made stronger. And that is what it is. That's part of it. I would say that that I have a tendency of thinking that is one of the more interesting parts of doing shows. I had a discussion with a few people at the Anime North as well as the AGM regarding how to bring layouts to shows, especially bigger layouts. And again, to be clear, again, more interruptions. I'll talk in a sec.